This concentration camps has made this organ harvesting even easier because they have turned the Xinjiang into human organ factory farm. However, when I tried to cut, the body tried to struggling. And I said, oh my God, he's still alive. And then the West has allowed China to play by their own rule. You just see how many overseas police stations Chinese has set up around the globe. And don't you feel this is ridiculous? How this Western country is allowing China to do that? And I was assassination attempted.
Where did it happen?
Get rid of camera, I will tell you.
Could you tell me your name, your ethnicity, and where you're from?
My name's in my language pronounced as Enver Tohti Bogda. And I was born in the city called Komol, which is in the eastern part of Xinjiang. And I grew up in the capital city of Urumqi, and that is where I come from. I was living at the top of the society as a surgeon, as a respected professions. And everybody knows you, and everybody bows to you, say hello to you. And now I don't know to say, in the bottom of the society. Yeah.
Could you tell me the story of how you managed to get involved in organ harvesting? Tell me everything that happened in the lead up to the event and what happened. Just tell me everything about your involvement with organ harvesting.
Right. This actually started from the 1990. That was first time I heard about this organ thing. People saying that there's people stealing organs. It was 1990. I was in the outpatient department of our hospital, because we go to the outpatient department every 3 years and we stay 6 months. And there was a middle-aged Uyghur man who brought his son, teenager son, and asked me, said, could you check my son's body if he's missing any organs? And I said, why? What made you to say that? And he said, in our village, there were few that a teenager has gone missing. After a few months later, and they had been found, and they found an organ missing. And I said, oh, okay. I checked his son's body, and I didn't find any scar on his body. So I told him, I said, don't worry, nobody can take your son's organ without leave a scar. Since your son's body there's no scar, don't worry. So I sent him away. This man, after he back to his county, is called Urumqi County. It's not far from us. And this outpatient department flooded with just Uyghur people from the Urumqi County, because this man said there's a Uyghur surgeon in this hospital. So they can talk to me, because those people, they don't speak Chinese. So in 6 months' time, I saw more than 100 teenagers. And I found 3 of them, they had a scar on the body, just very long scar. From that scar, I can tell that is a kidney surgery, because kidney is really deep. So you have to cut really big to open it up to reach there. And those 3, I sent them to ultrasound, and ultrasound confirmed there was 1 kidney missing. And that was the first time I have come across with this organ things, let alone organ harvesting. I never heard that organ harvesting then. Then in 1995, and one day, it was summer, my chief surgeon called me to his office. And he said, "Do you want to do something wild?" I thought, how can a surgeon do something wild? And I said, "Sure, of course." And he said, "You go to theater and ask for the largest tools and ask for 2 nurses, bring your own 2 assistants, and then tomorrow morning 9:30, meet me at the hospital gate." So I was quite excited and said, "Wow, what are we going to do?" So I got everything prepared, and the next day morning, 9:30, I was there. Yeah, and he also asked me to call our ambulance from our hospital. Call that one as ambulance is mistaken, because that is just one and belongs to hospital, and everybody called it ambulance. There's nothing in it apart from a bed. So at 9:30 next day morning, my chief surgeon appeared in the car, and he said, "Follow us." So we jumped into the van and we followed them. From that direction of travel, I can tell that is going to the Western District. On the halfway to the journey, we turned left toward the mountain. And then that part of the world I have never been. But our driver, he knows. He said, "This is the way leading to the Western Mountain execution ground." And I was scared. So what are we going to do in the execution ground? Since I was only Uyghur, and I thought, are they going to kill me? I don't know. But the fear is growing. We arrived there, and the execution ground is behind a hill. And in front of that hill, my chief surgeon, 2 of them, were waiting there, and said, "You guys wait here, come around when you hear the gunshots." And we said, "Okay." Then we started, there's noise coming from other side. Just people shouting and chanting, and the truck is moving, and the whistle blowing, then gunshots. The gunshot is not like machine gun shooting. It's like many rifles shoot at the same time. So I said, "Okay, let's go." We jumped into the van, and we come around. From the left side, I can see more than 10 or maybe 20 dead bodies on the slope of the mountains. Those dead bodies, they were wearing a prisoner's uniform. And gunshots is coming in from here. Then this part is blowing away. And that police officer shouted at us, said, "Go to the far right, and that one is yours." And I said, "Why is mine?" And since there was no time to think about that. So we come to that one. And that body was, he was wearing civilian clothing, and he had hair. All others shaved like mine, but he had hair. And what I can see is the bullet comes through his right chest. My chief surgeon told me, said, "You do as quick as possible, remove his liver and the 2 kidneys." Then I was relieved, actually. I said, "Oh, that is what I'm going to do. That is easy." However, when I tried to cut, the body tried to struggling. And I thought, "Oh my God, he is still alive." And of course, he's got knocked out, so weak to resist my insertion. And my chief surgeon standing on my left, guiding me and observing me, and said, "Quick, hurry up, So I start cutting it. Then I can see this blood comes out. That tells you the heart is still pumping blood. So technically he was alive. Well, he will die very soon because of his gunshot, but that moment he was alive. That kind of operation, I call it destructive operation, is very quick. It's easy. I found it's very easy. And actually I was proud of myself. Said, look, I have done this so quick, so clear, without any hesitation. And after I took all this organ, give it to surgeon, they put it in a box, and they told me, now get your team back to the hospital. I remember today nothing happened. That's it. Since that day on, none of us have ever talked about it. No, nobody. And that has remained the only episode, or only once I was involved in that.
How are you feeling? What was going through your mind when he told you to do this? Did something take over you and you just did it?
That moment, I actually become a robot, programmed or trained robot to do what you are trained for. Just like that. And on the little back of my mind, I felt a little bit proud of myself, because this is not opportunity or not the chance all surgeons can have. That is what I thought then.
Did it occur to you to say no to what you were being asked to do?
No. This has never occurred to me to say no. Why? Because we were born to that society. No, I was born to that society. It's like I was born straight into the washing machine and got my brain washed. Because during my childhood, my schooling, what I know is that I was living in the greatest country on earth. And our system is the greatest system, and we are the happiest people in the universe. That is our mind. In my mind, if anyone has been condemned for the death penalty, he must be the bad guys. As we using that political term, he's enemy of the state. And since we are good guys of the state, to eliminate bad guys is our duty, is every single citizen's duty. It's not only limited to the military or police. It is every single citizen's duty. So I didn't have regret then. Instead of that, I was quite proud of myself at that time.
So what changed for you?
That only changed when I arrived to United Kingdom. My eyes opened to the real world, what I call it civilized world, because I can read so many things which was not available in China. First things I started reading was publications from Hong Kong and from Taiwan, because they are in Chinese. Then I started realizing, my God, the society I was proud of is the most barbaric one. That, cultural shock was going on in my head. Until one day, there was a news. I watched the news. My English was, I picked up English very little, but I managed to understand that there was a man suing a company to the high court. And I thought how this man could afford this. Then it says that's free. I said, my God, yes. High court, you can go to high court and that is free. That is to make sure every single person's grievances or his complaint can be heard. That really shaken me. I said, my God, this is the society I want to live in. And that started to overturn my head. I mean, I actually started washing my brain in opposite way. And that I started realizing the society I come from, it is a barbaric one. So my eyes started open to the widely open. So after I picked up little English, I joined this human rights group, Tibetan groups. So that has put me in a hearing. Actually, it was a book presentation in the parliament. Ethan Gutman presented this book called State Organs. And when he concluded in this presentation by saying it is extremely impossible to get first-hand evidence, at that moment I found my hands raising high up. And I wasn't prepared myself, and I believe, and that is my Lord, or spiritually or somehow, made me to come out to say, yes, I have done one. I have done this. And since then, that was the first time after what I have did after that operation. Then since then, we become friends with Ethan Gutman, and we become leading campaigner on this issue.
Do you feel like when you raised your hand and started talking about it, and now you're campaigning, is this a way to, try and ask for forgiveness or make it better?
It is difficult to say if I had such feeling then. Only I myself couldn't understand is why I raised my hand. And that actually, I was quite worried. Because I was worrying how the West will take me after admitting that I killed that man. Well, technically, I didn't kill him. He's dying anyway, but I have shortened his already shortened life. So, in a way, he died by my surgery. So, I was actually worried and feared. Just Western people, they can't stand for it, and how they are going to see me. That was my actual worry, yeah.
And what was the response?
I'm sure there were many people they felt upset about that, but nobody has said anything to me. In fact, many people, they encouraged me. They said, thank you for come out and telling the truth. Although I felt a little, comfort, but to many extent, I was still worried.
Okay. The man that you cut and harvested the organs, do you think of him often?
I do. Since I don't know him, so many times I went to mosque to pray for him in case he was Muslim. When I in Asia, when I also go to the temple to light one candle in case he was Buddhist, and also I go to church pray for him in case he was Christian. Just try to have his forgiveness.
So, is this kind of organ harvesting on executed prisoners legal in China?
Well, from the question you asked me, I can see that you Western guys, you really don't understand how Chinese system works. Political system in China, it works this way. Whatever you see, it is for you to see. China, they have constitution that is for you to see. Inside, there's no law. If somebody has committed, killed somebody, whether or not he will get death penalty or 30 years, 20 years, it depends on his network. What doesn't matter what he has done. So, if you say taking organ from somebody's in China is illegal, I don't know, but it seems to be legal because everybody is doing it. But at the same time, if you look at the Chinese state constitution, then you will find that is illegal. Chinese this organ harvesting, this stuff in China, they don't call organ harvesting. They say, all just hospital doctors, they say, we are pursuing this new technology. We are developing our just skills and the technology, and to serve people, making people's life, to expand people's life. So, since the whole just people in China, they got blocked from the truth from outside, they believe whatever they have seen and they believe whatever they have been told. So they think this is normal. You get an organ, this is normal, and then that guy got executed, and then using his organ, it is his contribution to the country. They think in this way. Let me explain this how Chinese leaders they play these things. Chinese leader, there's Mao, Chairman Mao, and Zhou, the early leaders. They had one conversation in between. And Mao said to Zhou, how are you going to make a cat to eat chili? And Zhou said, I will put chili in cat's mouth. And Mao said, you are too cruel. Let's not do that way. And he said, what I would do, I would put the chili into cat's ass. So cat will lick his own ass. By that, he will take the chili away. This is Chinese strategy to get you.
In order to do, well, first of all, how many organ harvest operations do you think happen every year?
This is actually it's impossible to tell. There's no way. Because as my hospital, as an example, on the paperwork, we have 500 beds, so that we were responsible for the 500 this treatment, or according to the 500 beds. Actually, we have 650, and that 150 we make money ourselves. And this applies to all hospital in China. So you don't know actually which number is true, which is correct. And Chinese state, they say they only taken this organ from the executed prisoner, but when you look at the Chinese published transplantations number, how many transplantations they have done, it's far higher than the executed prisoner. So I don't want to say 60,000, 100,000. No, because that, even you have done a thorough investigation, that number you will come up with two different numbers.
But in order to do thousands upon thousands of these operations every year, there must be hundreds of surgeons involved in this trade, correct? At least hundreds of surgeons.
I think much more than that. Since this transplantation surgery in China become more and more popular, there were hundreds of thousands of surgeons involved in it. And then I cannot say then that they feel bad or they feel good, but according to my experience, I think they are still proud of it. Because in China, in this society, you don't ask extra question. You just take this organ, it's available, send it to you, you just use it. You don't ask where this organ come from, and it's not your business.
If you had to take a rough guess, how many operations do you think happen every year for organ harvesting?
Between 60,000 to 100,000. Well, it is quite difficult to say. There's so many different numbers. Ethan Gutman, they produced a report in 2016. They said 60,000 to 100,000. However, if you calculate in a different way, there are 90 hospitals got licensed by the state. And then every single hospital, they claim they do 5,000 to 10,000 per year. That makes 450,000 to 900,000. And then, of course, numbers in China, in the hospitals, they have they are playing numbers for their own benefit. I don't believe in this actual number, but if we want to find out the truth, we have to send independent investigation.
Has the United Nations ever done something like this?
I don't think the United Nations has dared to do that.
Why do you think that is?
First of all, the United Nations, in my opinion, is a puppet of China. United Nations, survival of United Nations is based on this Chinese money, Russians money, this money. This is one. And then secondly, China has what is called veto power. And then from another very deep, scary side is that what if somebody from the United Nations, they themselves need an organ? Isn't that creepy?
What do you believe about this?
I do believe. I believe there are many powerful, rich and powerful people around the world. They like this business because they can have an organ.
You talk as if you know something about this. Is this true? Do you have a source of information on this?
You see, this organ harvesting, the whole thing is based on the smoking guns. We don't see the bullet come out, but we see the gun is still smoking. I can give you long list of evidence to suggest that. For example, recently, there's in Wuhan city, one hospital, they celebrated the successful operation of 3 heart surgery for 3 kids, 3 teenagers. But since those Chinese netizens, they start questioning, how can you get 3 heart for 3 kids at the same day? Isn't that creepy? How did you achieve that? Then they took this news down. And just a few days ago, there was a Chinese liver transplantation surgeon wrote a paper to a Western medical journal. And his paper was published, but taken down later on, because he couldn't explain where this 576 liver originated. And this surgeon also got banned forever to publish such article in this journal. And have you ever heard something called Halal Organ?
No.
No? Okay. Halal Organ, as the name suggests, is a Muslim, like kosher food for Jews. Halal food is for Muslims. And halal organ, that from the name suggests we can imagine this organ has never digested alcohol or pork. And such organ only can be found from another Muslim. A Uyghur man who showed me those documents, he didn't allow me to take pictures, he didn't allow me to make copy, he showed me. The rich, very rich and powerful Muslims, they pay the broker in their own country. Then they will receive a letter from the embassy from Beijing. Then they will take this letter and come to Urumqi. And Urumqi will arrange an organ for them. First, they will be settled in a sanatorium to have rest. Then within 2 weeks, they will get their organ happily and go. This man, he showed me this document 5 years ago. Then I couldn't bring this up because this is so sensitive. If I say out, then the people will know who this man was. But why now I can say? Because this man died. He died 2 years ago in Iran. At the airport, he had very suspicious heart attack. He passed away.
And you know who this person is?
I know.
Can you tell me?
Sorry, no.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that there are a lot of very wealthy, powerful, influential people who want the organ harvest trade to continue.
They don't care if there's organ harvesting trade or business. What they care is that they just don't want to cut this off. The main reason is that only China can offer you an organ in emergency when you need it.
What's the wait times for an organ, let's say in America, and what's the wait time of an organ in China?
The waiting time for an organ, I would like to give you comparison from United Kingdom with China. In the United Kingdom, the registered donor, potential donor, voluntarily registered is 24 million. On this number, in UK, if you need an organ like lungs, for example, you need wait more than 2 years. Many people, they just die because they can't wait that long. Waiting for a liver in US maybe up to 5 years. In China, as in emergency case, it can as short as 4 hours. They managed 2 pair of lungs for same person in 15 days. And what is the China voluntarily registered donors number in China? You can log on to the website right now. It is 5 million, little more than 5 million. Based on 5 million, how can you get an organ, 2 pair of lungs in 15 days? You can't do that. And this news has reported by a newspaper in Beijing. They said we found a new way of treating this the COVID-19. So they reported this. We can find this report even now. They said they did lungs transplantation for a man because his lungs is totally cannot be used by the virus. And the first pair of lungs didn't survive. Within 7 days, they got him another pair. Isn't it that creepy? Because they can tell you, the most creepy thing is that they can tell you, I will have a heart for you in 2 weeks' time. How does he know in 2 weeks' time there will be a car accident and somebody will die and his heart is just fit for me? No, it doesn't work like that. It can't be.
So how are they able, where are all these organs coming from?
This is a good question because every one of us, we want to find out the evidence and to find where this organ come from. As I mentioned, that this issue is based on the smoking guns. Imagine you are going into a restaurant, you want to eat lobster, and there was lobster tank, and you told them you want that one. And this is happening in China, in the organ harvesting, organ industry, organ transplantation industry. To have this, you have to have a pool of people, because organ cannot be stored in the fridge. It has to be stored in another human being's body. So, in order to find that quick, you have to know where this person lives. That is leading to a suspicious checkup in 2016 in Xinjiang. All Uyghur people has been forced to go to hospital to have the blood taken. And they said, this is for your health. But we suspect is that they are building this organ database. Once you want, if you want an organ and you submitted your sample, then they will put into the computer and find in the Xinjiang, in a village, a person's match with you. Then this person will become a terrorist suspect. Then he will be disappeared. Then you will find your organ is coming. And concentration camps made this even easier because they have turned the Xinjiang into human organ factory farm.
So you believe there is a major database of organs which the medical system in China can just hand select people from Xinjiang and find the organ?
Only if there's an online database or in the computer there's database, then you will be able to achieve to offer your customer an organ in 1 week or 2 weeks time. Because 1 week or 2 weeks time, that is the time for them to label this, making this man guilty and having him, giving him punishment, then you will have your organ. Chinese government, well, again, I don't have direct evidence for that. And that smoking guns is that in Xinjiang and inside Xinjiang in 2 airports, we found this label on the floor. It says Organ Transplantation Expressway. I can show you that picture. You can imagine how big that traffic will be and making an airport to make expressway for you. And we can, using our common sense, say organ can be produced where the population is high. But it's not. In China, it's not. In Xinjiang and in Qinghai province, 2 provinces, we found this expressway at the airport. And those 2 provinces, it is the less populated provinces of China. So how can it be? How they can produce human organs in that less populated area? Do they have technology produce human organ from the factory? No. So where does this organ come from? Then this making us to remind us the missing population in this area. Last 5 years in Xinjiang, the missing population is more than 100,000. Based on the population number is low. Still, they managed to miss 100,000. And recently, just last week, there was a report in inner China. And there were widely reported that teenagers has gone missing. And a few of them, when they find, they were dead, and the police refused to give the body back to the family. And some of them, they managed to get the body, and they saw this stitches. So I'm not saying they are directly being organ harvested, but this is smoking gun. Why there are stitches?
That's a lot of. That's shocking.
You found this shocking. Yes, I found this is really creepy. In 2017, I was invited to Taiwan to give a lecture on this. In Taipei City, after one of my talk, there was one Chinese guy approached me while we were having coffee. And he said his brother went to Tianjin, had his kidney replaced. Since his brother knew about Falun Gong issue, so his brother asked his surgeon, say, I don't want Falun Gong's organs. And his surgeon assured him, said, don't worry, now all organs are come from Xinjiang. And that is, this man told me in 2017, if it's 2 years before that, that is 2015. Since I find out that they have carried out the first blood sample taken in 2016, I believe they turned this whole Xinjiang province into a human organ farm.
Look, how deep does this story really go? It seems to be a very expansive story, and the more you research it, the deeper and darker it gets.
Let me tell you in this way. From China's government structure, you can do this rest research yourself. You see, Chinese officials, if you below provincial level, you don't get free organs. But if you above it, you will have special treatment. You can check that the Chinese leaders, especially this central government leaders, they have very long life. Very long. Makes you wonder how. And at the below provincial level, they have quite high death rate. But after you pass that level, the gap in between is quite high. This life expectation is raised dramatically. And what can it be? That is people from inside China, when they come out, they told me this organ supply to the Chinese official, it started even in 80s, 70s. And according to your rank, you will have this. And that now, since China, they have just almost unlimited supply of organs, since like Falun Gong, just 19 million Falun Gong practitioners, and in Xinjiang there are 25 million populations. They have almost unlimited supply of organs. They even can afford to give away for free. I can send you all these documents, then you will see. So now, somebody told me, you know that in the field of espionage, there's two things. One is money trap, another one is honey trap, right? In China, there's organ trap. You can resist honey trap. You might have much more pretty women back home. But you may resist money trap. You have more money than they offer. But you can't resist the organ trap. And that has made us to see this halal organs, and that has made us to see this against organ abuse, organ transplantation abuse, this campaigning just don't go anywhere. And we don't receive any fund. In fact, it is opposite. We do whatever we want to do, we just find it's just, you can't just reach there.
With campaigning?
Yes, with campaigning. It doesn't matter where you are. So that makes me think, of course, it doesn't matter where just recipients are, because the recipients are all over the globe. There's one thing, China has made one project called China 2025. They announced this project 3 years ago, but they changed it later. And at the original project, there's one section. They said they promised to supply human organs to the world. But later on, they changed it. There's one question, and I said, the life expectation for an organ after left human body is up to 10 hours. But from Beijing to London, it's 12 hours. How are you going to do that? Chinese is much more smarter than what we think. They just simply put that donor alive at the aircraft. Then they bring this donor to wherever you want, and taking these organs away and put it to your body, and they don't care about that one. Because this Chinese surgeon has showed that. In 2008, there was a paper published in one of Chinese medical journal, and they admitted they have taken 2 sets of organ from this potential donor. That donor brought into the theater, and they applied general anesthetic. Then they took organs, gave it to somebody else, and they forgot to mention what happened to the donor. And don't you feel this is ridiculous? How this Western country is allowing China to do that? This is not only setting up an overseas police station. There was reported in Switzerland and in Austria that Chinese police is patrolling where the Chinese people lives. What is that?
The Americans helped the Chinese government build the camps.
I'm not saying the Americans, the Blackwater.
How do you know this?
It is reported.
I don't even know what questions to ask you right now.
Go to search black water and China, and see what you find out, what you can find. I know much more. I will tell you off the camera.
About what?
Off the camera.
Okay.